taking up for my brother. I tried to.
We ain't going back to Wednesday.
That meant we'd be going back, right?
Ma'am,
I was in trouble. We'd be going back.
if you was in trouble, still got to go back to Wednesday if you was in. See, see what I'm saying, Jane? Troublemaker. Your bodyguard. Okay. Ephesians chapter 4. Did anyone read over Ephesians verses 17 through chapter 5? And Jamal did. Okay. I know we have uh, been talking about the protection and protecting your heart and guarding your heart. And so we determined one reason for us to make sure that we do that because it impacts our relationship with God because you know the condition of our hearts and we all know this because I feel like most of us done experienced some things in life. So the condition of our heart um, it can pull or push us away from God. So it's important to make sure that we protect our hearts, our spirits. Another reason why is it impacts, you know, those that's around us. Um, us being Christian folks and children of God, we should most definitely make sure we protect our hearts for, you know, the benefit of others. So and I know I mentioned this somewhat Wednesday, but how important is it to you that you pay attention to what you allow in or out of your mouth, out your thoughts, Joe, all of that too now, okay? Um, not just for self, but for others. It may not be important to some, but is it important?
It is important, and it's important for me because if I'm following God and that's the way I want to be seen, so I have to go out with what goes in because in most cases, we as people, we're gonna judge what we do versus what we say. So if you let the wrong stuff come in, at some point, another is gonna come out. And when it comes out, and you've been preaching and teaching certain things to certain people, then they see that thing they shouldn't have saw, then they gonna start thinking or look at you a different way. Or call you a hypocrite, or however you want to call it. So that's why you gotta be mindful of what goes in. But also you gotta remember if we put on Christ, that's what should always be coming out. Even though Christ challenged with certain things just like we are, but he never gave in to the other side.
So when he got upset and started kicking over the tables and throwing stuff around, what do you say to that, Jane? He said, I'm setting him up. He gonna fall for it
I
too.
know
He
you.
gonna fall. He
I'm
gonna
gonna
fall.
walk with you because what he showed was that he does have a side that he's gonna respond to a wrong of what violates his words. or his character. He is going to respond.
Mm. So, the angry and not sinning. Uh, Paul gives, talks about that. That's why I want y'all to read over 4 and 5. So, when it comes down to those things that's against, you know, that's against what God, wants, and for one to get upset about it, you know, uh, ain't nothing wrong with that, because it is a such thing as godly anger. Uh, so,
I mean, even with
j-
that, you got to remember when we do the opposite of God's word, He does respond to us. We might not see it that way. Some people might not even think it that way, but He does. But it might not be violence or anything like that. You know, it could put a stumble on your stump in your way of your path. But a lot of times we want to equate that stump that's in front of you in your path to something that you did that was against him.
mm,
But he does respond.
James, some years ago, man, I picked up on something, and coincidence, if some folks want to call it, but I try my best to pay attention to almost everything. Now, there's some stuff I just, happens to me, take place. I overlook it. But Joe, I'm telling you, man, this happened to me on more than one occasion. That Sunday pass, get into the Monday, Tuesday of the week, something happened where I had to dump out some money, right? And then what I started thinking about? Did I shortchange God? Now that's just me now, cause I feel like he gonna get it one way or the other. And I rather for him to do it like that than hold mine, cause I stretch my punishment out. I don't want all mine at one time.
That's what I say, things like that happen. But a lot of times we don't equate it, to just, that we've done something that he was not pleased with us with, you know. So it like that, it don't have to be something, grand or whatever.
Yeah,
But like you say, because I mean, just like what you said about it, it's like, okay, I got the week planned out, so to speak. I'm all right. I went to law Sunday. I went to law Wednesday night. I went to law Saturday morning, and but then, like you say, something come up. Like I said, I gotta spend some money that,
when this is.
yeah,
Uh,
powerful. Why?
and even outside of being punished, it could just be the fact of, what, I'm going to throw this out there for you to just to it, because if nothing is ever thrown in front of you, why would you examine it? You know what I'm saying? Why would you? That's whether it's your faith level or your obedience or whatever it may be. If nothing that stump James called don't never get pushed out in front of you, you you continue on sailing, smooth. You wouldn't think about nothing else, would you? You know? But Ephesians chapter 4. Anybody else? I'm sorry. Anybody else had anything?
Take that same
You,
thing, and it doesn't never happen. Are you really, like you just said, are you really sailing along good if nothing like that ever comes up, a roadblock or stumble or whatever ever get in your way? Are you really sailing along good?
me personally, Jane, she got her hand up. Me personally, I'm going to say I think it depends on the individual and their relationship uh with God. Um, because I don't think God always tossing stuff in front of us. I think sometimes once we get to a stage or a place in life, um, we practice certain things, We, participate in certain things that I'm going to say probably cause us to uh, 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 derail us a little bit, if that makes sense. Because I know God is always in the play, but is He always in the play? I think there's a lot of stuff that we have to, we do it. We do it on our own. So, uh, I don't know, James. I don't know. Yes, ma'am.
But I was just saying, not necessarily things go wrong. It's just like form of discipline or punishment from God. But it might just be a test.
Okay.
And I just think about Job, and he necessarily didn't do anything wrong, but he was tested. But also, just like God allows things to happen. But sometimes we put ourselves in those situations.
Right. That's right. That's right. Anyone else?
I think about what he's saying, and we have to sometimes question the why part of stuff. Why do we have emotion? What's the purpose of having anger? Anger is supposed to be a tool to get you motivated to take action. It ain't supposed to cause you to step over and actually go beyond what God has intended. But it's supposed to stir you into action.
Hmm.
Just like when you have sorrow, sorrow ain't supposed to be for you to be down and out. It's supposed to bring you to a humble state. Why? So that you can draw close to Him. Because when you're feeling good, sometimes we get to feeling real good. That chest get big, and hey, man, we try to get a little longer. We don't need nobody. And sometimes these things happen, not things happen to us, but happen in front of us for us to slow down and go back and take an inventory. It's almost like you can have a box that somebody put in for you. You don't need to get in the grass. I get things. It ain't bothering you. You walk around the box, everything. Well, you get up, go get you a glass of water. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You ain't moved that box. When you hit that toe on that box, and you gonna remember you're supposed to have moved.
So why are you shaking your head?
And the next day you gonna get that box up, ain't
You get it ready.
you? And sometimes that's what happens to us. We get into a practice where things kind of going along smooth, and we really sleepwalk.
Eat walk. Mm-mm. I hear you, bro. Anyone else? Ephesians chapter 4, verse 32. It said, be kind to one another, tenderhearted, forgiving each other, just as God in Christ also has forgiven you. Okay, so paying attention to the things that you take in, the things that goes out, to help others is of importance. I'm gonna share with y'all two stories that well, one happened to me and someone shared with me about them, but uh, it was this guy, ex coworker. I don't even know if I had heard that they had hired this guy or whatever, and uh, he was in my way, Joe, when I pulled up to deliver. So I said, well, I'm gonna jump out and see what he got going on, cause I don't want to be in his way, you know. I want him in my way. So I went up to him. He was like, I mean, dry. I mean, he was so dry. Like, no, man, you good or whatever. And something was going on with his rig, broke down, whatever it was. And I mean, when I tell you dry, most of us would have just kept walking. So I talked to him for a while, dry the whole time. I ain't think nothing about it. Oh, well, I don't care. Is what I was thinking. It's not that bad, man. Some stuff we make it out to be. It's really not. You can break down anytime in anything, can't you, Joe?
You know, situation like that,
Yeah.
I find that attitude
Hold on, y'all. Just say it to start over, Joe.
in a situation like that,
Yeah.
I find that attitude. If your attitude is foul,
then your problem is gonna be more than what it really is. But if you're cool with it and just sit there and be calm and think things out,
Yeah,
it'll come to you. How to get it squared away. That's me.
I got you.
Anytime I break down, I mean, it gets my attention to the uttermost. But there's no need to get upset.
Yeah.
Being upset ain't gonna fix nothing. Sit there and think about it. Think about it. Might take me a few minutes, but then it come to I go. I don't always hit the exact spot, but I be in the area
Yeah.
and I go to messing with it.
Get it right.
Right.
Get back on the road. And when Joe started saying attitude, and I think you're exactly right on both sides. We ain't got no control over what nobody do or say, do we? But we do have control over what we do or say. So and after that, I heard a few things about that fella, whatever, right? We exchanged numbers. Some days later, he actually called and apologized to me the way he was acting towards me. I said, man, we good. I said, it's okay. I don't have to deal with you like that. I don't even know you to catch no attitude because you being dry towards me. I don't it. So why would that upset me? But everybody ain't like that. I mean, you dry towards me. Tell him somebody else would have did or whatever. But long story short, I couldn't get rid of the joke after that. Want to call me all the time, James, and I don't want to talk all the time. So our attitudes and the patience that we can spill forth for somebody can help both. Uh, you know whether we look at it like that, but it can. The more you do something, the easier it is to do it, right? So if you don't ever start practicing doing things like that, will you ever get to that place?
But see, that incident goes back to what you initially started with about guarding the heart, what you let go in.
Hmm.
That is one of those things. This is why you guard your heart. Because had you responded to him differently, just think about where that individual might be at now. But since you responded to him the way you did, it also made him look at himself.
Oh yeah, I
You know,
agree.
so that's why he was able to call you later and apologize. Because, like you say, all I had to do was just take the same attitude. This fellow, he just trying to help out. So yeah, it just falls back. What goes in you is what's gonna come out
You right? Yes, sir. Anyone else? Now he had every right to be mad because man, we had some ragged equipment, Joe. Ragged stuff. But what you do? You move around and make it work. If you can't make it work,
I mean, that's
oh well.
on my job. We got guys that they carry on just like that. And I just tell us, I said, remember this. You came to them for a job. They didn't come to you. You came to them. They gave you what you came for. So now, why are you carrying on the way you're carrying on? They helped you. But now what you're saying is, I don't appreciate you helping me. Oh, well, my truck ain't this. My truck can't do, but you came to them for a job. And that's what they did. They gave you a job. Now do your job.
I agree with James to a point, but it's a agreement with me. Now, if you hire me and we say they're gonna be this, if something go outside of that, we got to talk.
That's different. I'm not saying, yeah, I got that. But what I'm just saying is, like you said, you complaining because you got issues with the truck. That's why we got mechanics. When you got an issue, take the truck to the shop.
Get it taken care of.
And
I got you, Jane.
it's how you know, hey,
They don't
you,
want to do nothing.
yeah, I
That part of
understand.
this
You
is
just
your
want to fuss
responsibility
about it.
anyway. Yeah.
When all you got to do is just take it to the mechanic, let them do their job. And if that truck needs to be, okay, we gotta have it, and you still need to, okay, they're gonna put you in another truck. You keep working. I know you like I said, get bit out of shape, fussing about something when the problem can be fixed if you do the right thing. Take it to the shop. But you want to get on the phone, call the driver, fuss him. Man, I just, dude, call the mechanic or take the truck to the shop. Problem solved.
Heard that. We got Jamal there and Mark.
Yeah, I want to add a spiritual application to that.
Okay.
Think about it. Are we not in agreement with God? For
Uh,
those who gave themselves over to God through Jesus Christ,
all
are we
day.
not in agreement with Him?
Yes, sir.
So why do we tend to let those bad things come out of us when we should let God be the one that's in control?
Mm-hmm.
When we said we made that agreement.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, Jane. What you think?
And,
Why can't you answer?
and I think what it is we haven't offered ourselves up as a burnt offering to God spiritually. And what that says is, Lord, here I am. I give you all that I am.
Mm.
And I think that's the real issue.
Mm-mm. So even on our jobs, we ain't gonna get into that. 'Cause I got you though, Jamal. I'm not disagreeing. Yes, sir.
I was thinking that, listen to everybody, I can't, remember the studying I've done where, you know, if you take the true Christian life, that you're not looking to blame people or find the scapegoat, because us as humans, we always trying to blame somebody. It's somebody's fault. Even if it's our fault, we try to look to see who fault it is. I think once we truly buy into our Christian beliefs, you can recognize that, but you're not gonna harp on that because it keep moving. So you're trying to show people the God in you because He didn't make excuses for stuff not happening necessarily. He just got it done.
Mm.
Helping people, moving on. And as humans, it's easy for us to harp on why they don't work or why you didn't, whatever, instead of moving on to the next thing and keep it going. I think that's important for us to do because if we want to harp on the old stuff, then we're not going to get anywhere. We're going to stay there. And that's easy. That's what people want to hear. People don't want to hear, well, you can get that fixed. We can get you another one and get it going. They don't want to hear that. They don't want the solution. They just want to harp on the problem. But it's good to blame somebody. It's good to harp on the problem instead of trying to let's fix it and keep it moving. That blame, like I tell my students, when you point at somebody, you got three fingers coming back at you. Okay, now what did you do? And so we have that, and I try to get them to understand that people gonna do stuff. That's what people do. But you can move on past that. Now I like to use pass the gas as an example a lot because it don't stay there forever. And does it stink for a little while? Sure. Everybody does it. But hey, it happens. Move to a different area for a few minutes, spray something. Just keep it moving. But it happens from time to time. But you just gotta keep it moving.
Jamal said we haven't accepted, and Martin said that we don't like to be accountable and responsible for.
Blame somebody. Gotta blame somebody. They're not the
That,
way.
yeah, that's a human thing. That was the first man did that, didn't he, Joe? This woman you gave me, shameful.
Doing good for you, that all that.
Huh?
Doing good for you. Or the church come in.
He was doing good.
Yeah, no problem.
No, Joe, no, no.
Everything runs smooth, but.
Okay.
Hey, look, I'm not defying the Bible at all.
Yeah.
I know what the Bible says, but it's just me. I think my man was doing good. Then when they come up in the area, did what they did, look where we are today.
That's right. Yeah, they were doing good, Joe. Yeah, that's right. Till they messed up. That's right. Okay. Not till Eve messed up. No, no, hold on. That's it, boy. Boy, that's it. Oh man. One other thing I want to share with y'all, and this came from someone that's part of the body. Been in the body for as long as I've known her, and been over 20 years. I was talking to her a few days ago, probably maybe a week or two ago, whenever we talked. I was over there to do some work for, and man, I ended up looking at the time. I done spent almost 2 hours. We have been talking about the Bible. My son said, Dad, I didn't know what was going on. He said, I got back in the truck. I started to take a nap. But anyway, we was talking, and something she said, it was now I feel like I haven't experienced this, but she told me, and I know she wouldn't mind me sharing this, but she told me that she said, you know how you used to grow up, and when we was young, when we were growing up, and you see this older person, and they just, inspiring and all this other stuff. I want to be like Dirk, right? And then you get of age and you start hanging around Dirk. Some of the stuff that come out of Dirk's mouth, like I don't want to be around Dirk. I don't want to be like Dirk. And what she was saying is she feel like older people aren't doing their jobs anymore, or whatever. Now I'm not gonna say they're not doing their job. Uh, maybe in a way, I would say it's more of I don't want to move out of my ways. We know stuff is changing. I mean, same stuff just being done differently, right? So what do you do? You know, if my standard for the way I keep my house clean is such and such, I can't put that on James, can I? I come to James' house. So all I'm saying is as stuff change and stuff move and evolve, you can stick to your guns, but it's a way of doing it to inspire. I'm gonna tell y'all this. I ain't gonna tell you who it is. And I got mad. I got you know what it is, thing 32, 38. Okay. But because of this older person said they wasn't going to. She got her hand up. This older person said that they weren't going to vote for such and such. Now I look at that away because if I'm 70, 80 plus years old and Dirk 20 years old, Dirk, don't you know I'm looking out for you over me? You got more time than I do. But this Joker, that I don't see how we can do that. How we cannot think about what's coming after us. You know what I'm saying? I'm just barely 40. I'm just older than what, a year older than you.
Yeah.
I think about that. We'll get her and then James gone, but yes, ma'am.
You were saying about the lady said she think that older people didn't do their job.
Right.
Well, you have to think about this. You cannot approach some young people. Oh, yeah. You can't. You can
Mm-hmm.
go to them and you can start telling them something, and let me tell you, they'll let you know that that's not what they want to hear and that's not what they're gonna do.
Right.
So they're not approachable. We can't help someone that don't want to be helped.
That's right.
And we can't, if they don't want to listen to anything, and you don't know everything, but you've experienced a lot of things, and you have like focused on them to try to help them. It's about voting. You can tell them, you can say, do you vote? Why don't you vote? Oh, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in that. So you can't reason with them.
Right.
Understand that they got to come but they need to figure out why they don't vote. But they don't tell you that, oh, I don't vote because I don't believe in that. It's a lot of things that you can't approach a young person. You can't. If you try, you'll get your feelings hurt. That's what happens.
Gotcha. And we went on to talk about that as well, but her main thing is the the attitudes that older people take, you know, nowadays, or their, well, this is what she was really saying.
They can say things to you. They can say things to older people. You know what? It turns you off. You can say, okay.
And that's all she was saying.
And
That
they let you know they don't want to be bothered. They don't want you saying nothing to them. And they will say things to you. You don't forgot stuff. So you confused. It's always something.
and see, and that's
And
what
I
she
encounter that a lot.
and see, and this she was saying the same thing, that okay, this older person who should be, you know, inspiring, uplifting, encouraging, you get that. I'm just sharing with you what she said. Now I don't know.
It's a fact.
Yeah. So it's some stuff it's on both ends. I guess I haven't experienced that one because it's a lot of stuff I don't I just refuse to take to heart like that because I'm sorry, Martin. Yes,
Well,
sir.
I was just saying, it's the generational thing. Like the generations that going on. I think the silent generation they say was the best one. But it's like, I think my parents in the silent generation, like they lived through World War II and all that stuff. They were different, but their children were different. Then you got baby boomers who are not necessarily what their parents were. You getting the hippies and all that stuff. They wasn't all the stuff their parents did. They weren't doing. So naturally, the kids are not getting that. So it's just sometimes we idolize, or fantasize, or romanticize about what older folks should do. But we and I'm getting older now, like everybody else in the room. We weren't the kids they were. Some of the stuff when older folks told me stuff growing up, you didn't question none of that. You just did it. Now they're saying whatever, and I deal with some of the young ones now, teenagers. They tell you whatever stuff that we wouldn't have done years ago, but it's not the older people. Because I would think the older is their parents too, because you raised them like that, and then their parents got less than they got, and you teach them to question everything. It comes at a cost. Well, we used to blindly listen to older folk and never quit. They tell you get on their roof and be like, oh, yes, ma'am. And you went, how much you asked how you gonna get up there? You just got up there. Now pick up that piece of paper, right? I didn't drop that. Well, I gotta pick that up. I didn't do that. So all that has changed this younger group. Now what their kids are gonna be like, I can only imagine. I can only imagine they're gonna come out the womb questioning everything. I don't like that diaper. I don't like that. I'm telling you, they're gonna question everything from get go.
I'm like the womb, he said. Boy, you need to stop. All right. Anyone else? Okay, Jane. That's it. We will pick up there on Wednesday.